The first 2 days of the round of 16 have already narrowed the field. Morocco reached the quarterfinals by defeating Canada 3-0, while France secured their spot with a 1-0 win over Paraguay. Today, the bracket turns to Dallas for the Iberian Derby between Portugal and Spain, and Seattle for the United States' match against Belgium. NBC Sports currently projects a 2-2 draw for the USA and Belgium, with Belgium advancing only after a penalty shootout. It is a forecast based on the historical difficulty these two teams have in separating themselves in the late-stage knockout rounds. However, these predictions often overlook the specific roster changes defining today's matches. For both Portugal and the United States, the outcome depends on how their managers handle the absence, or the inclusion, of their most famous players. Forecasting these games requires looking past the names on the jerseys and analyzing the tactical consequences of a missing striker in Seattle and a benching dilemma in Dallas. The first kickoff takes place at 3 p.m. at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. It's the first time Portugal and Spain have met with stakes this high since 2018. Spain entered this round after a 3-0 win over Austria. For a team that hasn't won a World Cup knockout match since the 2010 final, that performance suggested their technical structure is finally producing results again. Portugal's approach is more personal. The squad is playing to honor Diogo Jota as the anniversary of his death draws near. It is an emotional motivator that has carried them through a difficult group stage, but the tactical reality today is complicated by Cristiano Ronaldo. In the round of 32, Portugal beat Croatia 2-1, but the winning goal came after Ronaldo was off the pitch. Observations from that match show a team that moved more fluidly when their captain wasn't the focal point of every attack. Starting a forward who lacks defensive work rate against the Spanish side is a risk. Spain's high pressing system is designed to trap teams that cannot move the ball quickly through the center, effectively isolating a static striker from his midfielders. If Portugal's midfield is forced to drop deep to support a static attack, it creates the exact gaps Lamine Yamal needs. At 17, Yamal has already shown he can exploit the space left behind by fullbacks who are forced to tuck inside to help their center backs. Spain's current cohesion makes them the favorite here. We expect a 2-1 Spanish victory, as Yamal takes advantage of a Portuguese side still deciding how to balance legacy with performance. Roberto Martinez's choice regarding Ronaldo will likely dictate the tempo. If Portugal prioritizes a traditional focal point over defensive mobility, they will struggle to stay in front of Spain's rotations. At 8 p.m., the focus moves to Seattle. The United States faces Belgium at Lumen Field, playing for a spot in the quarterfinals on home soil. Belgium arrives after a late comeback against Senegal, scoring twice after the 86th minute to win. Romelu Lukaku remains their primary outlet, providing a physical presence in the box that the U.S. center backs have yet to encounter in this tournament. The United States will have to defend that threat without their leading scorer, Folarin Balogun. Although a VAR review confirmed he was wrongly red-carded against Bosnia and Herzegovina due to misapplied protocols, the suspension was not overturned. This forces Mauricio Pochettino to adjust his attacking front. Without Balogun's ability to stretch the defense, the U.S. will have to find a new way to create central pressure. The responsibility falls to Christian Pulisic. Usually a creator from the wing, Pulisic will need to take more direct shots and occupy the spaces Balogun typically claims to keep the Belgian defense from pushing too high. Jurgen Klinsmann has argued that the U.S. roster has enough depth to absorb this loss. He believes the squad's overall quality in midfield can compensate for a lack of specialized finishers. We expect the U.S. to win 2-1. By relying on a more disciplined defensive shape and Pulisic's individual talent, they can frustrate a Belgian side that has shown it can be vulnerable early in matches. While the absence of Balogun is a significant setback, it forces the U.S. into a much more compact tactical setup. If they can withstand Lukaku's initial pressure, their depth in the second half should be enough to advance. If these results hold, the tournament loses one of its most recognizable figures. A loss today would mark the final World Cup appearance for Cristiano Ronaldo. For Spain, a win confirms they're once again a title contender. For the United States, advancing without Balogun would be a landmark moment for the program's developmental depth. These matches illustrate how quickly a single suspension or a lineup decision can change the path through the bracket. Can the U.S. actually hold off Lukaku without Balogun to counterattack? And is Portugal better off with Ronaldo on the bench? Let us know your predictions in the comments. Join us tomorrow as we cover the final 2 matches of the round, Argentina versus Egypt and Switzerland against Colombia.